We'll start with the Cleveland Browns, who finished in last place last season in this division. Browns over-under win total was set at 9.5.
Under.
I'm taking the over.
I'm also taking the over here.
I think it's under by a little bit. I think they get 8 to 9 wins. I think they're good, but
I think they could be as low as 7 or as high as 12.
As low
I agree
as
with that.
7? You think that's the lowest?
As low as 7 wins, as high as 12.
I think they have a high
Yes.
ceiling, this team.
They have an
have a very high
incredibly
ceiling.
high ceiling based solely on Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this roster's been there for years, like ready to win. They've just been a quarterback away for years.
I just need to see it from Deshaun Watson first. Like, you haven't seen this man play successful football in 3 years. Legitimately. I know he didn't play 2 of them, but he wasn't good when he did play last year either. You know, I need to see it. It's been 3 years. It's not the easiest thing to overcome not playing football for that long. And, you know, his first taste back was not good. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to, put all my eggs on over 9.5 wins for them. That's just considering you still have, I'll say it, the Bengals and Ravens in the division. They're not better than those teams, in my opinion.
Their schedule outside of the division is soft, though. That I will say. That's a big difference. I think they honestly win like 11 games this season. I think this is one of the most well-rounded rosters in the entire league. You finally got a bookend for Myles Garrett, too, and Zadarius Smith, which was a very under-the-radar signing this offseason. They added other pass rushing depth. They added Dalvin Tomlinson, who's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the entire league. Miss him on the Giants, to be honest. But, yeah, I mean, they have a bunch of guys on this team. The defense is honestly going to be a top 5 to 7-ish unit, in my opinion. And then obviously, if you get a great season from Deshaun Watson and he's showing most of what he showed like 3 years ago, this is a Super Bowl contender. That's how good this roster can be.
Yeah, and I think in terms of Deshaun Watson, having a full off season without all the attention on him is kind of quiet. I don't think anyone's really talking about the Browns that much. I think that's only going to benefit him and the team.
Agreed. This receiving core is also very good. Amari, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's very slept on, and then David Njoku. Yeah. This is a very good receiving core.
David Njoku kind of broke onto the scene finally a little bit last year. So
yes, he did.
Hopefully he continues that.
Incredibly,
they have everything.
Team.
They should be able to win some games.
There's not a weakness on this roster, if I'm being entirely honest. There really isn't. That's the scary part. So if they put it all together, it's one of the best teams in the NFL. This team could have 3 Super Bowl contenders in this division. That's crazy. That's wild to me. What? Am I wrong?
Kinda. You said this team could have 3 Super Bowl contenders.
This division can have 3 Super Bowl contenders.
There you go.
This division can have 3 Super Bowl contenders. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Next up, the Steelers with an over-under win total of 8.5. What do we think?
Under. What the fuck?
Under.
That's a high.
Wait, Dean, let's do that again. Under. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
That's a
what?
Smooth. What are you saying?
That's a high over under for this Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion. It's unfair. Setting them up for failure.
Say it.
I'm taking the over.
Okay. We disagree. Cool.
So, by virtue of taking the under in this case, right? That means Mike Tomlin finally has the first sub-500 season of his career as a coach.
Shit.
Give it to me.
I said no.
I want to change my answer now.
They'll win 9 games, be perfectly average, but because they're coached by Mike Tomlin, they will be an above 500 team.
I'm curious to see the other 2 teams of what you take, because I feel like I'm going to be surprised.
I just think with how good this division
everybody's going to go over?
Everyone in this division is going over, yes.
That's just not possible.
I've had entire divisions go under, too. Or 3 out of 4 in most divisions go under.
I think with how good this division is, it's going to be tough for them to get to 9 wins.
I agree.
I think this is not a bad football team by any stretch of the imagination. They have a solid defense. They have a more than solid scheme in place there, being coached by a guy like Mike Tomlin. The division schedule is real tough.
I agree, and I had them splitting with the Browns and the Ravens, but I had the Bengals sweeping them. I think they always take one from the Ravens. They always manage, no matter what. And then the Browns, I just think they're gonna Browns in one division game at least. So I think it'll end up being against the Steelers. And they always know how to play in the division. It's just that simple. And as I said, I think Kenny Pickett's gonna have a very good season. So, like, surprisingly enough, if I think Kenny Pickett's gonna have a good season with how talented this defense is in terms of their pass rush in general, just the front seven, I think they're capable of winning 9 games. And I think Mike Tomlin will continue his above 500 streak, or at least no losing season streak. That's the only reason I said that. Because I was like, you know what? I can't give Mike Tomlin a losing season. It's just not going to happen. Not yet. Maybe not ever. All right, next up. We have the Baltimore Ravens with an over-under win total of 10.5.
Over.
Smashing the over.
Over.
You're an idiot. That's it. I think they win 13 games, and I think they're a Super Bowl contender. The only question with them is the pass rush. I literally have no other questions with this roster. Who's rushing the passer? That's it.
away.
Yeah, no, that doesn't inspire me exactly. The only guys that I could think of is Owe, yeah, and then David Ojabo. David Ojabo was a second-round pick last season, and he was going to be a first-round pick, or maybe he was the last pick in the first round. But regardless, he was going to be a first-round pick, possibly top 10 if he never tore his ACL. I believe that was the injury that he had. Maybe it was Achilles. But regardless, Ojabo was a first-round talent, top 10 talent, and he fell in the draft, of course, for the Ravens. But
yeah, their question mark has always been their weapons on offense, and they obviously fixed that this offseason. Zay Flowers, Odell, drafted Isaiah Likely.
that was 2 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said one thing about this team. There's probably the most injury concerns amongst a core of skill position players that I've ever seen. Lamar has injury concerns. J.K. Dobbins, I guess you could say he has injury concerns. Rashad Bateman, Ronnie Stanley, Odell Beckham,
That shit's so
Mark
weak
Andrews.
to say a guy has
Everyone
injury.
except Zay Flowers.
Everyone
Say a
except
guy has
Zay.
injury concerns because one injury is so fucking weak.
But it's
bro.
it is the truth though. It's unfortunate, but if it's a
Diesel.
torn ACL, then it is. Like it's a question.
for a running back in the NFL.
But yeah,
Yes.
there's so many potential injuries here, and that kind of scares me a little bit.
I'm
but
looking at their depth chart on ESPN, and it has Nelson Aguilar as their starting running back. Like, I'm not even capping.
No, I know I saw that, but it's not. It's obviously JK, but yeah, I saw that. Nelson Aguilar is a solid backup receiver to have. I will say
Yeah.
that much.
I just think this defense is going to be really, really good. I think they have by far the best linebacker duo in the NFL.
Agreed.
I think their secondary is phenomenal. Another year of Kyle Hamilton
I'd
developing.
argue it's the best in the league as
Yeah,
well.
we know what Marcus Williams is. We know what Marlon Humphrey is. They signed Rock Ya-Sin.
Yeah,
Such a funny name.
it is, but he's really good.
And I think their pass rushers, like you said, David Ojabo, I thought was a great pick. I think he's going to be really good as a rookie. And I have all the confidence in the world in Odafe Oweh. And I think, like you guys said, they added a lot of weapons on offense, and they got a new OC in Todd Monken, who I just think is just going to take this offense to new levels.
Fair. I mean, if they could generate a pass rush, I have no concerns about this roster at all, aside from the injury question marks, and that's literally it. This is a Super Bowl contending roster, period. Like, if Lamar's healthy, it's that simple. All right. The last team in this division finished in first place last season, known as a Super Bowl contender, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals with an over-under win total of 11.5.
Over.
Taking the over as well.
11.5 is a lot, but I'm going to go over.
I could see the under, though.
In Joe
at 11.
Shiesty, I believe.
I'm going to take the under. I think they get 11. I think losing Jesse Bates is going to hurt them more than people realize.
Their safety duo was very shaky.
Yeah.
Very
I'm
shaky.
not the biggest believer in their defense. We know what their offense could do. They made moves to bolster up that offensive line, which has been a big concern for them. I'm just not the biggest believer in that defense.
That O-line still isn't very great.
Yeah.
It's still not
definitely
great.
improving, but
I will say though, outside of the two safeties, their defense is loaded. it's loaded top to bottom outside of the safeties.
Yeah,
like
losing Jesse Bates sucks.
losing Jesse Bates hurts big time, but outside of them, your defense is crazy. Like it's incredibly talented, with one of the best pass rushes in the entire league. Outside of that, it's Joe fucking Burrow, it's Jamar Chase, and it's T. Higgins.
Can I
And
ask you, because I genuinely don't know, and I should know, how is their O-line?
it's still one of the worst in the NFL,
Yeah, I
but they added Orlando Brown and replacing Jonah Williams, and Jonah Williams was actually one of the worst tackles in the
So
league.
if
last
there were
season, so-
concerns about their offense, it'd be that.
yes, absolutely. It's
And the
still
running back,
offensive line.
of course, with Joe Mixon situation.
I will say they have 3 above average offensive linemen, but the other 2 spots are kind of iffy. Lyle Collins was hurt, but even prior to that, he was playing like shit. Jonah Williams is still there, but he was playing like shit. They signed Orlando Brown. As I said, he's incredible. We know that. But outside of that, it's you have a solid right guard, you have a solid center, and your left tackle is good. The other 2 are massive question marks right now, and that's a big issue. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough, but you also have the best receiver duo in the league. So that makes up for a lot. And there's question marks around Joe Mixon, which is kind of an issue as well, but you can always figure out a running game, in my opinion. I think that's the least important position on the entire team, but that's just me.
I mean, considering your O-line's not great, I mean, is it really a situation where you could just figure it out
Yes, I think so.
with a bad O-line?
Personally, I think
I mean,
it's
the Bengals have figured it out the past 2 years.
yeah.
Yeah, but they've had Joe Mixon.
Mixon is okay.
Mixon's
I don't think Mixon
half
is a
of the league running back.
special. Yes, I agree, but he's not I don't think he's a special talent, in my opinion. I think there's maybe 5 special
do you
talents in the
mean?
entire NFL.
I think the Bengals make Joe Mixon's ceiling higher. Joe Mixon doesn't make the Bengals ceiling higher.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That's perfectly.
Are you hearing
perfectly
me or
stated.
no?
No,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
He's a great. I
But
think he's a really good
what
player.
other options do they have? Samaje?
No, I
Perine?
think
Maybe
the team
Dalvin?
definitely takes a hit if he's not there. 100%.
Maybe
Chris
Dalvin?
Evans.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's probably not going to happen, but maybe Dalvin. Just saying. Even though I think there's only 2 destinations for Dalvin, but yeah, I mean, I think the Bengals are great.